Great.
I am really excited for my next conversation and continuing the Las Vegas version of Life at Full Blast. Lady Jen, welcome to the show. I'm really excited to invite you in and talk about how you are the scaling architect. Welcome.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much. And who would have ever thought that little Jenny who ain't got a penny, is making such an impact on the world. And so I'm so excited to provide as much value as I can.
I love
So
it.
hit me.
Yeah,
Let's
well,
do
let's
it.
dive in because little Jenny who doesn't have a penny. Let's talk about that. Tell us about a little bit about your background and where you came from.
Yeah, I mean, the short version of it is that I'm one of 36 first cousins. We're a big Catholic family. I call it dual citizenship in the United States. My father was from Colorado, my mom from Michigan. So I have a little Michigander accent, and then I'll have a Colorado slang all at the same time. But I've lived in Virginia for 30 years, so you're going to get everything. But when I was younger and until I was 12 and a half, I was the only one who was an only child out of
Mm.
all those kids, and I'm the seventh oldest. So, and my mom and dad were, the black sheep of the family. My father was an alcoholic. He was a beer alcoholic. Not that that's an excuse for him, but he was a beer alcoholic. Thank God, not hard liquor, but a beer alcoholic. My mom was a verbal abuser. She was my first bully, and she would take everything out on me when he drank. And so I had to be perfect. If I was perfect, he wouldn't drink. If I was perfect, she wouldn't yell, all of that. And we were poor and we lived next door to my grandparents, and my uncles had nicknames for all of us. We had Stan the Man and Gene the Machine, but I had Jenny who ain't got a penny. And of course, I did not understand it. So every time they said, "Oh, look at Jenny, ain't got a penny," I would pull a penny out of my shoe. I would kept it in my little tennis shoes and stuff. And I would, there you go. We get the dog. Um, I would go, I would pull that penny out and say, "No, I have a penny. I have a penny." And one night, and by the way, there were tons of nights that my mom and dad were fighting, days, mornings, and evenings, in the middle of the night. And one night I was riding my bicycle home, and you could stay out later back then.
Mhm.
Rode my bicycle home, and I could hear them screaming from outside. And I walked up the steps and through the, screen porch. You can imagine, the old fashioned screen porch. And then right straight through, I saw, my mom sitting in her zipped up, robe that they used to wear then. She was very heavy. She smoked a lot, and she was there shaking. And my father had a shotgun to her head.
Oh.
And I ran out, and that was no pun intended, no pun intended. That was the trigger for me that said, "Wait a minute, this whole Jenny ain't got a penny thing has to do with the fact that we're poor, and
Mhm.
then I'm going to amount to nothing." And my uncle even told me, "You're just going to be like them. You're going to be an alcoholic. You're not going to amount to anything. You're going to be poor like them because that's how the world works."
Mm.
And so I set out after that moment to prove to everybody that I would be way better
Mhm.
than what their expectations were. And
Yeah.
so my entire life was proving until I decided I'm done and now I want to live. So there's more to all of that, like what I did in between. But so my whole life I've thought, "Oh, am I worth it? I need to be in the struggle." They were financially a mess. So, if I make money, I should spend it so that I can stay in the struggle. And of course, all of this is subconscious, but
Mhm.
it's just there,
Mhm.
and I've learned how to overcome it. And I've learned how to say, I can't do it anymore, but there's still moments. We're not perfect.
Of course, yes. I think those stories that we learn when we're little kids, like we never really get rid of them. We become aware of them so that we can interrupt them. But I think they always live with us.
Yes.
So this inner worth thing, you've written a book about your story around inner worth. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's one of the many books I've written, but I wanted to I didn't want to do a self-help book in the traditional sense, and I had always written business books, so I was kind of like, I don't want to write a business book. How can I write something that still tells the story? And thank goodness for publishers; they have all the ideas, and they said, "Well, let's write this as, and I kept saying, don't tell me I can't. No, 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 no. Don't tell me I can't. I'm gonna write." But I changed it to "tell me I can't," not "don't tell me I can't." And the reason why I did is if someone says to you, Hey, don't tell me I can. It's confrontational.
Yes.
Tell me I can't is empowering.
Mm.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell me. Go ahead. Come on. Tell me I can't. And watch what I do. Get
Right.
out of my way.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why I wrote it that way. We wrote it as it's actually being presented to Hallmark and Lifetime for one of their movies. And you know how
Oh.
those movies go. It's a story about, I don't want to go to the little town, and then I go there and then I fall in love and
Mhm.
but the whole premise of the story is someone who's really good at what they do. Sounds familiar, right? Really
Mhm.
good at what we do, but still has that underlying doubt all the time. And every time that the character is presented with a challenge, she's like, I don't know if I'm good enough. I mean, I don't know. Well, why would they want me? And all of these things that she thinks are things I've thought in my
Mm.
life,
Mhm.
in the work environment and all of that. I mean, even down to, I'm not worth receiving a gift and,
Mhm.
all of those things. And so I wanted to write something that everyone could, say, wait a minute, if this powerful girl in this character in this book is able to overcome her shortcomings and her thoughts of, I'm not worth it. I'm not worth it. I mean, who am I to deserve it? Then I should
Mhm.
be able to do that as well. And it's a very lighthearted book. It's a little love story and it's lighthearted, but it has the undertones. And I'll give you the secret. I only tell this when I'm in a podcast. All of the characters are my family members. So we put everyone's name in a hat
Mhm.
and we just pulled out and said, so Anna, who's the main character, she's I was going to say middle grandchild, but now I have a new one.
Oh
She's
yeah.
my second grandchild.
Mhm.
And Molly, my eldest, she is in the book too. And we just think it's funny. They're talking about, they walk around and go, Papa, Brian, I think is the main character. Yeah, Brian and Anna. And my husband's name is Brian. So Anna's like, Papa, we're always in the book together because we're going to dinner together and you give me a gift. And then my son, who's really wealthy,
Mhm.
he's like the cab driver. And it's just whatever happened. And it's fun. I have every one of my family members in there. So
I
not the
love it.
36 cousins, just my family.
That's a large
Yeah.
family. I love that so much, and I love the take that you used of just making it into a lighthearted story instead of your average self-help book, right? Because that's what we all think we
Like,
need to
woe
do.
is me. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, with that underlying layer of inner worth, what do you say to yourself now when it pops up? Or does it pop up anymore?
It doesn't pop up very often, but I will tell you, if I have some sales calls and I'm not successful in them, like,
Mm.
like last week this happened. I mean, we just had a whole, we're moving as we're recording this, we're moving tomorrow. This isn't even packed up. And so I've had that. I turned 60 the other day, and so it hit me,
Mhm.
right? I wasn't expecting it. And so, I think it comes in ebbs and flows, but I had 5 sales calls last week, and I didn't enroll any clients.
Mhm.
And of course, what do you think I did?
Yep.
What's wrong with me?
Yep.
They don't
Right
like
back
it.
to it.
Yeah, right back to it, right back to it. But then I went through them and I said, wait a minute, this person isn't ready for me. This person thinks they know more than me. This person, da da da. And I started looking at it and saying, it's a blessing sometimes. What's his name? The big country star. I can't remember his name right now. Garth Brooks, but he sings a song saying, "Thank God for unanswered prayers."
Yes.
Right, and that's the song. Is that he wanted to have this girl and this, that, and the other, but then he later found out, hey, I've got my girl and I've got my family, and I was like, you know what? I wasn't meant to have those 5. I analyzed it. I made sure that I'm looking at it and saying, what could I have done better? Can I learn from this? Absolutely, I can learn. We can all learn from everything we do. But I said, you know what? Next, let's go on to the next. Let's just focus on who's next. I've got 3 calls this week. Let's focus on that.
Yes.
And yeah, so that's what I've been doing. I think and not think. I don't like. I like absolute terminology, not thinking.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think anything. I know, right? I know that I now can catch it and
Hmm.
can assess it. and then redirect it.
Yes.
And that's what I focus on. Whereas before I didn't see it, and I would just circle the drain and get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse.
Just
Yeah.
spinning around and around. Yes, I know that one well. Inner worth has probably been one of my biggest growth patterns as well. And I love that, you know, as soon as you become aware of it, then you can interrupt it and shift it and kind of pick yourself up out of the dust and brush yourself off and keep moving forward. Yeah, I love that. So you've gone from Jenny without a penny to now helping people who are stuck at 6 figures scale up to 7 figures and beyond. Obviously, you've done some work on your inner worth to be able to get there. But tell us a little bit about the work that you do in the world. How do you serve?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this all starts from a second trigger that happened in my life, which was, you know, I was at dinner with my family, and I'm doing air quotes for those of you that aren't watching the video. You know, I was at dinner with my family, and as is the case with us as entrepreneurs and business owners, you know, and people just generally, when we're trying to prove to people and we're trying to climb the corporate ladder or climb any ladder, you know, make a mark in the world, you know, anytime that a client calls, I'm going to pick it up. Right. So I picked it up, and you know, I'm doing the whole thing as I'm walking out. I'm going, they just need me. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I swear it'll only be a minute. I'll come back. Yada, yada, yada. We all know this. And I went outside and I walked what I call the concrete balance beam. And it's that curb that we walk while we're talking, we're walking and talking. I even open doors for people. I'm like, hi, come on in. Yeah, I'm talking to my client. Look at me. I'm so right. But I'm not surfing. Right. I'm not surfing myself because I'm freaked out because I know I got to get back, but I want to listen, but I got to get back, but I want to listen. And then the client isn't getting my full attention because I'm under whispering under my ears. Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, right. And they're like, are you there? And I'm like, yeah, I'm here. Right. All of this chaos is going on. They're not being served. I'm not being served. My family's not being served. And I happen to look over into the restaurant, and there they were. They were, you know, shooting little, you know, things through the straws and laughing and spilling stuff, you know, and creating all these beautiful memories. And I was never in them. And so I'd gone from feeling alone as an only child, right, till I was 12 and a half. And by that time, he was still drinking, but it was different. You know, I'd like disconnected myself, but I was alone in this process and alone in the proving and, you know, just driving and becoming, you know, Miss Colorado Springs, runner-up Miss Colorado, playing flute and piccolo in the Colorado Springs Symphony. I was a state champion tennis player. I was pre-med to be a cardiologist. I mean, you name it, I had to be it. And I transferred that into my work. So I had to be perfect in my work. I had to prove in my work. Along the whole way, nobody was saying, hey, I'm proud of you. Way to go, Jen. Nobody. So I just kept proving.
Right.
But man, this moment, I was like, that's it. I'm done. I was doing really well, but I was killing myself to do really well. And I said, there's got to be a better way.
Yes.
And that's when I said, I'm done, right? I said, I'm done proving, I'm going to start living. And that's when I started say, you know what? We tend to focus on working in our business or on our business. We hear this all the time. Stop working in your business, start working on your business. I now believe you shouldn't do either. You have to for a while, but stop working in and on your business and start living above and beyond your business. And when I learned how to build world-class teams that could free me to have the lifestyle I want, to transform my career into a lifestyle, I just wanted to do it over and over and over. Now I have 4 businesses that I do that
with. I love it. I love it. And if you look at that, you're creating world-class teams, but you're also helping and being of service to so many other people because you're creating jobs and you're helping people become leaders, right? Yeah, I love that so much. So
and really impacting our own lives, you know. I mean, the beyond is whatever you want. The beyond could be the money, the beyond could be another business, time with your grandkids, sleeping in, traveling, whatever it is for you.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And I see so many entrepreneurs. I mean, this entrepreneurial gig is fun and a roller coaster. And I see it so often, and I hear it, especially with the intuitives that I work with, of adrenal fatigue, exhaustion, burnout, because you're this hustle culture that we've bought into of we've got to like go and burn the candle at both ends. And look, I don't love it. So I absolutely love it.
And no one knows. there's no end in sight, right? I mean, that's the whole candle at both ends. There's no, light at the end of the tunnel. And I would even say, I get that it's the hustle culture. I actually feel like now it's the glorification. It's the glorification of busyness. Oh, you're busy. That's not even close. Do you remember the Saturday Night Live thing, the skit where you had the people from Jamaica and they were saying, "You only have 5 jobs, you lazy man," right? And I think what happened, right? And so I think what happens is we compete against you. No, I'm more busy than you. No, I'm more busy than you. Or no,
Mhm.
I'm more busy than you. And people
Yeah,
say this to me all the time. God, you're so busy. And I go, yeah, but you know what? I only work 4 days a week. And you know
right.
what? I dance 3 days a week,
Mhm.
because I'm a competitive ballroom, Latin, and swing dancer. And of course I am, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Of course you are.
Uh-huh. That too. That too. But I've learned to structure it in a way that I can live my legacy while I'm building it. I
Yeah.
can work on purpose so I can live with passion and play with passion. And so every day is a vacation. I get in, do my work, and leave. I don't mess around. And so often this busyness is like eating soup with a fork, right? We're just eating soup with a fork all day long. And we get at the end of the day, and we're like, we're not full, we're not fulfilled, we're exhausted.
Hmm.
And if we just can, change that dynamic and really it's a mindset shift to be a leader. And that's
Hmm.
really what I'm asking everyone to do is let's be a leader. Do the hard work now, not the long hours, just dig in, do the hard work so that everything else can be great. But learn how to be a leader. And many of us as entrepreneurs don't have that skill set.
Hmm.
We were great at widget making, but we don't necessarily know how to own a widget making company because we're still the widget maker.
Yes, I love that. And I honestly think it starts with leading yourself first, right? Because
Mhm.
if you are a
Yeah.
solopreneur and you're on your own and you're not at the six-figure business yet, then you probably do have to do it on your own and you do have to put in some longer hours and work hard. But it's about that ROI. Like, where are you spending your time and your energy? Or are you just doing busy work, distracting yourself from doing the work that counts, like sales calls and things like that?
Yeah, and in my book Launch, How to Take Your Business to New Heights, I break it out into 3 categories: finder, minder, grinder. We all have to be finding business. Then we have to fulfill the business, then we have to do the grunt work. And I had to do it too. It's all this task switching, and I have all kinds of things that I do about activity blocks so that you're
Yeah.
not task switching. But we get so ingrained in the activities, and guess what's not there? Self-development as a
Mhm.
leader, looking forward and saying, is this what I want to do for the next X amount of years?
Right.
Because I can't, I mean, it makes me sick to think about what I'm not doing this for the next X amount of years. I'm not sitting here in front of a computer and doing all, and searching for buttons to buy or,
Mhm.
whatever,
Mhm.
tchotchkes or, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so the faster you can etch out of there, even if you're at 5 figures, the faster you can hire someone just 10 hours. 10
Mhm.
hours a week gives
Mhm.
you 10 hours of productivity. And in 10 hours of productivity, if you can't make, let's say you pay someone $20 an hour, 10
Mhm.
hours a week, $200. If in 10 hours you can't make $200, you have bigger problems.
Yes. I love that.
You
Yes.
need to hire someone immediately. Yeah, hire
Mhm.
someone immediately. Free yourself up to get more productivity.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you said that too. Do I even want to be doing this for years from now? Do I even want to be doing this tomorrow?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sitting, they say, I don't know, there's a new statistic out ever since COVID that, for every 8 hours you sit, you're losing 3 hours of your life.
Ooh,
Why would you do that?
why would you do that? Yeah. Ouch. Ouch. So I love what you said, and the live your legacy while you're building it. I love that line.
Mhm.
It really stood out to me. And as I was looking through all these things that you do, because you have a lot of things you're doing: published author, podcast host, you're a TV host, you are also a competitive dancer in 3 different types of dance. What else do? You are a philanthropist, you speak on stage, you do all of these things, living your
Mhm.
legacy while you are building it. But how do you manage it all? How do you get it all done?
Well, I have a team.
Yeah.
That's the You know,
Seems to be the
I
topic of the
have
show.
to, yeah, you have to have a team. And for those that don't have a team, you have to hire the first person because, you know, this is part of scaling. There's three different, well, you know, in, on, above, beyond, right? When you're in, it's all about me, 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 me. I have to be every piece of my job. When
Mhm.
you're on, you have to develop your systems, right? They can't be here. You have to develop your skills and being able to hire people. So often I hear entrepreneurs saying, well, I just need a mini me. God, no, you don't. You need someone who will do the things you don't want to do and loves doing them. You
Yes.
don't need a mini me. Or, you know, it's funny with our phones, right? If we get down to 12%, we're like, I got to plug in. My phone is at 12%. But in our businesses, we get down to zero and then we're like,
Mhm.
I just need somebody. And then
Right.
you go, hey, you're really nice. Just come on in and we'll figure it out. No, that's all wrong. All wrong. All
Yeah.
wrong. And then it doesn't work. And then you know, you're like, they were awful. You're finger pointing instead of going, I was awful. I
Mm.
wasn't ready. Right. But when you get to the on, you're managing your methods, right? You're
Mhm.
managing your systems. And this is why you're not able to leave your business and you have to go in again. You're like,
Mhm.
just give it to me, I'll do it. Because
Right.
you didn't share it. They don't know what they're doing. They have no idea. So you're enabling your team and they're not performing at their peak, and nor are you.
Yeah.
Then you go to beyond, above, which is the mindset shift of, okay, I have my systems in place. I want to empower them
Mhm.
to be me. Now they
Mhm.
can be me. And they need to know the vision for your company. They need to know the values, the non-negotiables that you have. You know, how fast do we call people back? 2 minutes or 2 hours?
Mm.
They need to know those. And
Mm.
lastly, they need to know your voice. Are you humorous? Are you a fast talker? Notice I am. Are you
I do.
humorous? Are you a I know you're going to have to this. I do this on purpose so that people can't listen to this at fast speed. They have to go the other way. I'm teasing. But anyway, but when you get to the above, you're enabling them, you know, or you're empowering them. And that voice is, are you humorous? Are you a texter? I'm an emoji girl, right? And so
Mm.
you want people to be like you. You want them to hear you and think like you and be around you. And so you're empowering them to make decisions without having to call mommy
Ah,
or
yes.
daddy. Okay, so that's the key thing. This is the difference between the two, and it allows you to go out and do all the wonderful things that you want to do. And then once it's scaled, you can leave it and go do something else,
Yeah.
right? And go do something else. So yeah, you know, that's how I get it all done is day one, you should be hiring someone on your team. They should be the
Mhm.
ones who are putting your SOPs together. They
Right.
should be the ones that are writing the job descriptions for you. Hire that first one to do all that stuff. You don't have to do it.
Yep. Yep.
Day one, even if it's 10 hours a week.
Hmm. I love that so much. So you don't know this about me. I used to be a virtual assistant way back in the day. So I was one of the people that got hired on people's teams. And I
Yeah.
found that I didn't enjoy it because I had a lot of clients who were just throwing their mess at me in the hopes that I would clean
Yeah.
it up, right? Rather than that leadership
Yeah.
quality. But one of the biggest challenges I found with leaders, we'll use that word loosely, was
Pretend leaders.
yeah, pretend leaders, was that they didn't want to let go of control. So,
That's it. Yeah.
how do you navigate that with somebody who's like, okay, I need to go and hire a team right now because Lady Jen is saying hire a team, but I want to control.
I'm saying hire one person. Start with the one. Don't get the whole team. Yeah. But you know, here's the thing. We all have a chip on our shoulders. I had one too. You know, I was in the mortgage business. I was top in the United States, you know, top 200 loan officers out of a million. Top 200. Of
Mhm.
course I was.
Of course you were. There's a
Right?
theme here. Yep.
I say that because I look back and I go, I'm just such an idiot sometimes. But anyway, I was closing 18 loans a month, every month. And every month I couldn't get past that number. I had enough loans to close, but I couldn't. I was exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally said, fine, 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 I'll hire somebody.
Mm.
Well, then the next month I didn't close 19. That's all I wanted to do. I closed 26
Wow.
and then 32 and then
Big difference.
52 and then 82 a month. And you can imagine how much income that is, right?
Yep.
And it had just excelled because it freed me up to not be doing the grunt work and all that, that other crazy stuff. And so I let go of what I don't want to do. So there's something called the hedgehog theory, and I call it, the trifecta of success, but it's do what you love to do what you're really good at, and do what makes financial sense where you'll get paid for it.
I love it.
And I didn't want to do that grunt work anymore.
Yeah.
That's what was keeping me from happiness. That was keeping me from eating properly. That was keeping me from not sleeping right. So that's how you have to make that decision to say, and that's the mindset shift of saying, hey, I'm not losing control of everything. Eventually, I don't want to know. Eventually,
Mm-hmm.
you guys handle it, right? You're not losing control of everything. You're losing control, or not losing. You're releasing the things you don't want to do anyway.
Right.
So get a piece of paper and write 3 columns: finder, minder, grinder. What are the finder activities you do all day? With the minder, what are the grinder? And the longest list, well, because you're probably not finding if you're grinding. Usually the longest list is minding. It's
Mm-hmm.
minding. I've got a client and now I'm going to hold it and call it George, and I'm going to babysit it all the way to the end. And I forgot to sell, and I forgot to do reports, but I'm just going to babysit this one client I have, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so that's usually the first person you want to hire, is some kind of minder to take the fulfillment off of you that could help you in that. Aside from that, hire the grinder to create your systems, to call and say, hey, this is the next step in the system, instead of you sitting down and go, okay, what is my system? What is my,
Mm.
I can't remember what I do first. It's kind of, you know how it is. Sometimes you need to see a list and then you extract and add from it, as opposed to creating the whole list.
Yes.
So let them create it.
Mm.
Have meetings with them every day and say, okay, so all I want to do is talk about what my process is. Keep your process in place, because that's the only way. This is why we can go to Starbucks anywhere in the world and it's the same Starbucks.
Exactly.
It's a process.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something to be said for those systems. And I'm somebody who loves to build those systems. It's why I was a virtual assistant. So I get it. And I tend to do it too much in my own business because I'm good at it. But do I love it? I'm not so sure.
And you're not making money while you're doing it.
Yeah.
That happened to me in my business too. I love looking at tax returns as a lender, and I'm
Mm,
excellent because I used to be an underwriter. But I realized in the 20 minutes it was taking me to do it, I could make 3 phone calls and make $15,000.
right. It's all about that return on investment. Yes, I love it. I love it. Jen, I want to thank you so much for being on the show. But before we end, we need to talk
Yes.
about the philanthropy and the work that you do, the charity work that you do, and why you are Lady Jen. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. Sure. Yeah. I just, because I was so unfortunate, or ill fortunate. What is that word? Unfortunate. I don't know. Poor.
Poor. Yeah, there we
Didn't
go.
have anything, didn't have people around me. I have a real sensitive spot for a couple different things. One is children, right? And
Mhm.
making sure that they're taken care of. I wasn't abused by my parents, but I have a type of abuse, and I just don't want other kids to be in that situation. And I think that, always having the struggle. So that's the first one. The second is that being, born in Colorado, raised in Michigan for a while, and then back to Colorado. We had NORAD, Peterson Field, the Air Force Academy, Fort Carson. We have all these military people around. And being in the mortgage business, I really started developing this sensitivity to veterans as well.
Mm.
My father was a veteran. My husband's father was a veteran. He's buried in Arlington. And so I work with something called the Boulder Crest Retreat. It's just down the road from me, and it's for internal and external wounds of our veterans.
Mhm.
And one of the things I've learned there, which is a scary statistic, is that 95% of the rapes that happen in the military are men on men.
Mm.
And so men are walking around with this self-worth issue, right? Walking around. And so I'm not qualified to have conversations with them about that, but I love going there and cleaning the kitchen and, making the beds for the different places, and gardening there, promoting it, selling, things that benefit veterans. So I love all that. And then, so that's anything that has to do with veteran, I love doing. And then for the kids, um, I there's a couple things. There's a place called Laws. It's Loud and Abused Women's Shelter. I've been very involved with them for a lot of years. I'm involved. I'm Catholic, so I'm very involved with Catholic charities and some of the abuse, that happens. Not the priest thing, but just abuse. And so, and I've gone over, and I'm about ready to go over to Africa to serve for battered women who want to start a business, even if it's just making cute little things. We want to help them. Yeah. And I love employing people. So when I go over to Africa, this particular time, I'm going to be emceeing a high-end mastermind retreat, and we have employed over 250 people to build this camp. Oh. And now the camp is set so that other people can have their events there. And yeah, I'm just real excited about it because they're always going to stay employed. It's just going to be not all of them, but a lot of them. So with the Royal Order of Constantine the Great, the Royal House of Cappadocia, which is in Turkey. I'm part of the Royal House of Cappadocia, and then I'm knighted in the Royal Order of Constantine the Great in St. Helen. And our mission is to help homeless mothers and children. And that's our mission. And so we support anything and everything that people could bring to us, to help. And we've now started supporting kids that are trafficked. I went to Hawaii right after I saw you in Vegas. I went to Hawaii for a week, and we visited one of the safe houses, and there was an 11-year-old girl. Yeah, who had been trafficked. And so, I just like helping them and, serving them. And because of that philanthropy work, and then because of my entrepreneurship, I was nominated to become a Dame. And so I had the choice. I could be Dame Jen or Lady Jen, and I wanted to be Lady Jen. So that's what that's about. And my husband was just nominated to be a Sir. So he's going to be a Sir shortly. Excited. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I just thank you for the work that you do in the world. It's so important. And this is what I love about, when we go out there and get paid for our gifts, when good people make a lot of money, we do good in the world with that money. So,
well, that's what we're supposed to do, right? I mean, it's in the Bible too, to whom much is given, much is expected, right? I'm paraphrasing. But the other thing is, Grant Cardone says this a lot. He says, people quit on money. Like I want to make $1 million. So when they make $1 million, they're like, okay, I'm done because I made $1 million. I got mine.
Yeah.
When I made $1 million, I was like, hey, now that I know how to do it, I can do it again and again and again. And now I can give back.
Yes.
And that's what I'm doing. I can't take it all with me, but I can give it back. And that's taking, and I'll leave my mark in the world. So
yeah. I love it. I love it. Living your legacy while you're building it. It's beautiful. Thank you, Jen, so much for being on the show. Any last words of wisdom for the audience before we bring this to?
I always have a quote. I always have a quote. This is my mom's quote. We flatter those we scarcely know. We please the fleeting guests, but we deal many a thoughtless blow to those we love the best, including ourselves. So stop dealing those blows to yourself. Get out there and make your mark in the world.
Oh, so beautiful. That gave me goosebumps. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.